All right, everybody. You all saw the title of the video. We all know why we're here. Because yesterday, Nick Saban said some. I'm gonna censor myself. He said some bull that set not just Kane's Twitter, college football Twitter on fire the last 24 hours. And Max and I were just talking for a few minutes before the show. I'm like, save it for the show. This is too good. Save it. I'm like, man, but Max, have you ever seen Nick Saban like this rattled?
Yeah, he did the same thing. When Jim Harbaugh was doing those satellite camps.
Mm-hmm.
He did kind of a similar thing, and now satellite camps are like allowed.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny enough, but no, I mean maybe not to this extent, like blatantly just calling out multiple people's names. And I don't think I've ever seen it to this degree. Like it's bad.
Yeah. And for those of you who may be tuning in, maybe you're catching up, you've been busy with work or whatever, you don't know exactly what happened. We'll fill you in real quick. So yesterday, this was yesterday, right? At like
Yeah.
what was it, like SEC meetings or something that that he was doing this at? Like what was happening yesterday?
I don't even know. He was just like doing some interview in like Texas or something like that. I don't even know.
Yeah, he was like on stage somewhere. They were on stools with microphones. They were on a stage, and he was basically, hey Black, what's up? He was basically talking about how singling out schools. He mentions Miami, that I think he said that kids are going, to Miami to play basketball at Miami. They're getting paid $400,000 to go play there, which, by the way, is not true. I love that John Ruiz chimed in on Twitter and said, no. They're coming here legally on a name, image, and likeness agreement, and we get a return on investment on it. They're working for that money. And then he calls out Texas A&M directly, and this is where it went viral, because he was like, everybody on that team is bought, which, of course, is an extreme thing to say, that really every single player on that team you paid for. But he says that, but then I'm not going to accuse him directly. You can if you want. But Nick Saban, I mean, all of college football, all the elite teams, all the SEC, we all know what's been going on behind the scenes. Like, these guys, the second they commit, like you said earlier before we got on live, they, all of a sudden they're driving these nice sports cars. I'm pretty sure Nick Saban owns like
5 car dealerships.
He owns 5 car dealerships in Alabama. So that's basically why this went viral. Jimbo then later in the day responds. I thought his response was great. He said something to the degree of, some people think that they're God. And we did nothing wrong. We didn't pay anyone to come to the school. These were all name, image, and likeness deals. Whether they were or they weren't, whatever. He's saying that they were, that they were legal. And then today, Nick Saban kind of walks back what he says, this thing about collectives, which I'm sure you'll dive deeper into, Max. But yeah, that's basically what happened. And the entire college football world is calling him out. And I'll be honest, I lost a little bit of respect for Nick Saban today. Because I knew he was already we all knew he was doing this. But the man is an amazing player developer. And he's won all these national titles. So respect the man as a coach. But I lost some respect in the last 24 hours. So, sorry for being long-winded. Max, what are your thoughts on all this?
I mean, it's just funny that the cheaters are calling out the other cheaters that learned under him. So, like, I mean, it's not even the college football world that's going crazy. You have all these NFL players that are like, dude, Nick Saban was literally paying us to just visit the school. I mean, it goes so much deeper than what's being talked about. Like, what people don't know is some of these college coaches are paying players to even just be interested in visiting the school so they can attempt to recruit him. Because let's just call it how it is. If you're not interested in going to Alabama, then how is Nick Saban going to get you on campus? He's going to pay you to come to campus. And that's how he gets you. That's how he hooks you up initially. And then he continues to give you money to come on more visits and more visits and more visits. Then he goes, well, if you commit to us, here's a brand new Hellcat. And here's $450,000. And here's $1,000,000 so your parents can buy a house here. And here's an apartment for your girlfriend. It just continues and continues. And a lot of coaches have been doing this for a long, long time, and everybody knows it. But unfortunately, the governing body doesn't have a spine, or clearly well, they might just not want to the investigation prowess to be able to get people in trouble. I mean, think of it like this, because I had a conversation with our guy, Mr. Buff McCoy, earlier about how this whole Jordan Addison situation with USC, everybody knows there was contact before he hit the portal. So, what people don't know is there was something else that happened that he should not be at USC, is all I'm going to say, right? That's not a SEC school, so shouldn't the NCAA punish them? Because they don't punish the SEC, they punish the other schools. Tennessee got a slap on the wrist for handing out actual McDonald's bags when it was illegal. They got no trouble. LSU, no
Nothing.
trouble. Okay. How about Arizona State, though? They're a Pac 12 school. Nobody cares about them. Herm Edwards gets caught paying for players' flights during the dead period and letting them on campus during the dead period. Text messages, emails, all of that provided to the NCAA. He fires his whole staff. He says, I had no idea about it. My staff did it. NCAA doesn't get involved. Why? Because last time I checked, if you're the head coach of a university and shit happens under you, it's your fault because you're the boss. So how is Herm Edwards allowed to coach in college right now? How has ASU not gotten the death penalty? Because the NCAA just has no control or chooses not to use it. So, I had a long conversation with Mike, and there's not a solution right now because the NCAA is not going to do anything. At the end of the day, the solution is a new governing body, but that's going to be crooked just like every other governing body. You see with the Miami Dolphins and the Brian Flores saga, and there's corruption everywhere. There's no fix to it. The best that we can do is make it as even as possible. But I just don't see anything really happening in the near future.
Yeah, man, it's such a mess. In some ways, in a good way, honestly, because I love that. The curtain's been pulled back on everything. I love that. I love that the playing field's been evened. It's a little crazy, a little Wild West right now, but this had to happen first for like the floodgates to open. It'll eventually regulate to a certain degree, I would hope. But yeah, and Alex brings up a great point. And I think if this was like 10 years ago, when they were still kind of picking and choosing who they wanted to investigate, the Miamis, the UNCs, teams like that, but completely ignore the SEC, I don't know, maybe something would have happened, but I think NCAA just realizes they're losing complete control. But Alex is asking, will the NCAA get involved with all these I think it means accusations from ex-players saying that the money they were offered? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen because I feel like the tables are like so many people are coming out. The tables are kind of turning on Saban. And, he and the SEC has always been protected because that's the cash cow. They bring a lot of money in. But I don't know how to answer that. I could see it going either way. What about you?
I don't think they will. And another interesting piece, John, is Greg Sankey publicly reprimanded both Jimbo and Nick Saban. He's in charge of the SEC. He's the commissioner, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's a public reprimand going to do? He said both of them violated the SEC bylaws. So shouldn't they be fined and suspended? Where's the this guy broke the law. Okay, then do something about it. Don't just say they broke the law. Like, one, if I'm Alabama as a university, I'm suspending Nick Saban. I'm fining Nick Saban because it's an embarrassment to the college. If I'm the SEC, I'm fining Nick Saban. I'm suspending Nick Saban. If I'm the NCAA, I'm doing the same thing. He should have 3 different fines and 3 different suspensions from all 3 of those governing bodies because you can't just go publicly slander like that. It's not. I mean, a player gets fined for saying a referee fucked up. Sorry for my French. A player or a coach gets fined for saying a referee made a mistake. But making all these true accusations, you still can't do that. And then make it seem like he hasn't done any of what he's been doing, when every single person that watches college football knows Saban has been cheating for a long time. It makes zero sense how he hasn't gotten in trouble yet.
Yeah, and it just looks so weak on his part. Like that's what I was surprised by. You know, it's like, dude, you're still Bama. You're still, yes, it's in middle of nowhere Tuscaloosa, but you know what? If you want to go win a national championship, you want to be a first rounder. You know, you still go there. You still got a good, but when the tables are turned not in his favor just a little bit, he lashes out, which kind of surprised me. Let's see what Larry Frank's saying. Let's be honest, the grumpy old men section edition rant by both Saban and Jimbo will open a plethora of investigation because Jimbo said, ask guys who worked for him. Jimbo worked for him. Yeah, well, I hope not, because Mario also worked for him. So, but you never know, man. I don't know. I think this is going to lead to a lot of change at the top. Kind of like what you said, new governing body and all that stuff. And isn't Mark Emmert stepping down?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think this has something to do with it? The whole NIL stuff, or?
I think Emmert lost control, and that was the only reason why he was in control, was to be able to allow. I mean, it's not a secret anymore. It used to be a secret, but it's not. You know, people started to do their research on Emmert, and they realized that he was the guy that hired Nick Saban at LSU. So his dirty laundry is known by Nick Saban, and Nick Saban's dirty laundry is known by Emmert. Why do you think Saban doesn't get in trouble and Emmert doesn't get in trouble? Because they know where each other's bodies are buried. It's that easy. People just didn't put two and two together for the longest. That finally somebody else, I wasn't going to throw it out there, did some research and basically found that out, and it makes sense, right? So I think he just doesn't have a handle on things anymore, so he's stepping down. That's my opinion.
Yeah, man. It's an interesting time. I think for the most part, it's for the better, honestly, because the establishment's getting shaken up, and I think it's going to lead to a lot more change.
Well, it can't be worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't. It's, like we're in a day and age where, like, everybody knows people have been cheating. So, and I'm not gonna act like we didn't cheat back in the day when we were doing our thing. Like,
of course we did.
You know, but it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, man. Let's see. I mean, Saban and Jimbo worked at LSU together. They were mediocre to national title contenders. I recruit those early 2000 studs. This is way before Bama. I think it was an FSU recruit. I was reading this right before I came on with you. I think it was Travis Johnson was his name?
Yeah, I believe so.
He was saying that that in the class of 2000, I don't know. He said, I think he implied that it was Alabama, so it was before Saban got there, that Alabama offered him like 6 figures to go play. Here it is. Yeah, offered 5-star recruit Travis Johnson 6 figures in the class of 2000 to go play at Alabama. So, you know, it's been happening forever. The duffel bags, the McDonald's bags, all these bags of cash, they've been tossed around since the beginning of time. NCAA has no more teeth unless it's Miami. I don't think it even has teeth with Miami anymore because, you know, all these accusations, I mean, I don't think they had any ground to stand on, but all these accusations on Twitter from rival fan bases about John Ruiz. In the past, again, I think it would have sparked some kind of little investigation in Miami, possibly, but no investigation. So let's see. Defamation against Saban. Popeye's bags in Louisiana. Hope Ruiz goes after Saban. He might. You never know.
Yeah. The question becomes, what can he go after him for?
I mean, Ruiz is an attorney. You don't mess.
Exactly. So he would have to think. He would have to think of a case that he knows he can win, or else it's a waste of time.
It's not Cafecito and Canes without Fresh saying we need linebackers. Just thought I'd.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Last time I checked, we got one.
We did get one. I would love more. They're coming, but I would love more. Addison to USC. Yeah, Fresh, if you're just coming out, we were touching on that earlier in the show.
Yeah, I'll fill you in off air, John. I can't say it publicly.
Okay. Let's see, Saban is the good old boys. Wait, Freddie Flowers said Georgia gave him a duffel bag to commit with them over Florida on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. I'll have to listen to that because I love that show. Saban, good old boys network. Yeah, man, it's crazy, but man, I'm trying to gather my thoughts. What we kind of already said what happened. We don't know what happens next, right? I think this. Do you think more allegations like between coaches start coming out? Like Florida's coach is going to say something about LSU's coach, or
I think maybe behind the scenes. I don't know if it's going to be as public, and I've been thinking about it all day. At the end of the day, there's not a single soul out there has a foolproof solution to this, or else it would have already been done. As far as the NILs or the pay for play or this cheating, if somebody had a legitimate way to prevent all of this, it would be implemented by now. So to me, it's like, well, just change this. Well, yeah, but when you change this, then there's other loopholes that come up, and there's other things that are wrong with it. Like, oh, let's just create. I was having this discussion with Mike. Let's just say every school can get $30 million in donations just for NIL or just for paying their players. Well, what if a school can't afford that $30 million? How is it fair to them? Now you're basically just saying, so all the teams with money are going to continue to win, and all the teams that don't have money are going to continue to lose, and the teams that are winning without a lot of money are now going to lose, like a smaller school that may be good, like a Boise State that was good for a while, right? They don't have as much money as a school like Texas, so now Boise State can never come back to relevance. You know what I mean? So there's not a clear solution to me that everything you do is going to have positives and negatives. It becomes trying to find a solution that has more positives than negatives, and the negatives aren't super significant. But at the end of the day, nobody has a solution, or else we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, that is one thing that concerns me is the rich get richer and the poor are going to get poorer. Those middle of the road teams, those, the scrappy Cincinnati's and the Boise States, having these undefeated or one-loss seasons, is that going to be a thing of the past forever? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because those Cinderella seasons are during the COVID year, you had like all of a sudden Louisiana and Coastal Carolina and all these teams like going undefeated. It kind of made it fun, but that's the thing that concerns me. Let's see what John Fletch is saying. Yeah, Alabama hit the wall, be up for probation for their chronic public quasi-cheating, like what happened in Miami. Cheating got all those great athletes in Tuscaloosa. Hard to argue. Cheating plus winning, but then the winning brought more 5-star recruits, plus the money, and let's see. Coach is going to start pillow talking and gossiping. Yeah. Going to have a declaration. Ooh, Flo. I don't know if
going live tonight too.
Oh yeah, go catch Flo 9:15, right? That's when he's going live.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what he says. Because remember, I'm a super fan, but just a fan. I'm not as knowledgeable.
Well, Flo's just a normal fan, so he's even a peg down.
Yeah.
You're a super fan. He's just a fan.
Yeah, he doesn't know much.
He
No.
doesn't.
I can't wait. I'm gonna have the Heat game on mute, and I'm gonna be listening to him like, ooh,
He
give me
just
some
makes shit
juice.
up for fun.
Whatever. It's gonna be entertaining. I'm gonna throw some popcorn in the microwave right now, and it's gonna be fun. Let's see. We'll be on a few more minutes, guys. I just wanted to touch on this. Now there's 60 in the chat, so please hit the like button. Throw your comments in, please. Air your grievances. We'll talk about it. Funny how Miami goes on probation, has to play with one hand behind their back, and Bama becomes a monopoly. Yeah, I remember back because I was a kid when this happened. Max, you may be too young to remember, but I'm sure you know the history of us being in probation in the 90s because of the Pell Grant scandal. I remember when I was a little kid, Miami winning, and then all of a sudden we sucked. And my dad had to explain to me like what was going on. And during those years, Florida and Florida State magically start dominating. Why? Because they start getting the studs out of South Florida. I mean, of course.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. The only reason Florida has that 96 championship. The only reason Florida State has the 99 championship is because we were down. I'm just waiting on Dabo to chime in. That's a good one. Yeah, Dabo's like vehemently, like publicly against NIL just in general. So I don't know how that's going to work out for him.
Well, that's my thing. I was having this conversation earlier too. Like, they're like, well, why don't we just get rid of NIL and just pay everybody? And I'm like, because it's a freaking law now. Like, you have to overturn or amend that law. Like, it passed in Supreme Court and all that stuff. Like, legally, these players have to be able to make money off their name, image, and likeness. You can't not do that. You can't just get rid of that unless the government decides to get rid of it.
Ooh, I have a surprise guest. All right, Flo.
Is it that dude that sung to you for your birthday, Flo?
The birthday clown?
Yeah, the birthday clown.
Oh, man. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's because I've heard this solution thrown around, and it's hard to think of. I don't know if it's a great solution, but it's hard to think of a better one. Do you just make the players employees? Like, is that where it's headed? Because then they're not students anymore.
Yeah, so that's what my thing is. Like, what's the point of them being in school at that point?
Right, exactly.
Because they're like working a full-time job, playing football.
Making more money than the average person.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, my early solution was, why don't you just create an 18-plus league that is like the feeder league to the NFL, but at the same point, then it just completely abolishes college sports. There's no point of them anymore, which would suck. But then it's like you're also limiting the amount of people that are able to play at the next level because there's not going to be 100 and however many or way more than that with how many divisions there are in JUCOs and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, every solution that anyone has come up with, there's a ton of flaws in. And that's why there's been nothing yet.
Yeah. Yeah. AO's just saying we need to have this completely transparent. I'm all for transparency. I'm all for that.
Oh, it's never going to be full transparent.
That's the thing. Unless the surprise guest is from The Office. Oh, boy. Tennessee was giving out McDonald's bags. Bama was giving out McDonald's franchises. That's a good one, Fudge. But yeah, man, it is a crazy time to be a college football fan. The bright side is, thank God. Can you imagine if Manny Diaz was still the coach? The amount of players we'd be losing right now.
Dude, I spent months in therapy trying to get Manny Diaz out of my head, John, and now you're just bringing him back up?
I mean, it's in the past. It's over. I'm just saying, it's funny how this Mario Cumming came at the perfect time because thank God we're on the right side of this where we have money and we're a big program and okay, we'll benefit from this stuff, but that's the good news. We have good football to look forward to, but
Manny would have had to borrow cartel money from his dad to like pay for these NIL deals.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Did you see Steven Jackson spoke out against Saban defending Dion? Oh, he had Dion's back.
Didn't Saban shit talk Dion? I'm confused now.
Yeah. No, he said Steven Jackson came out against Saban, like in defense of Dion.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what he meant. I love what Dion had a good quote. Like, you don't like he had like this minute 20 video that's really good. And in the video, he says, if you're trying to get the girl, you don't talk about what the other dude ain't to get the girl. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. That's true.
It is.
But yeah, and it's kind of cool that Jackson State's got guys like Saban rattled. I think that's the part that I think is awesome.
Oh, it's hilarious. Or like the fact that he's talking about our basketball team.
Right.
Like, what?
Right. Which I hope we get a couple more years of Larinaga. I really do. He's got that program on its way. Rich Eisen said the top schools will join and make their own league. I think that could definitely happen. Like maybe not a Power 5 league, but like a Power 3, and there's like tiers to it. I don't know if you ever played the video game Blitz the League.
Of course.
Back in the day. I love that game. The way it worked, it was like a fictional pro football league, and it was tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 1 being like the elite teams. And you actually had the first place team of like tier 2, for example, would play tier 1, and the winner would jump tiers. And
dude, that honestly would kind of be badass. Like,
right.
Let's just say hypothetically there's like 32 teams in each league.
Yeah.
And then like the bottom 4 and the top 4 of the other one play, and then the winners move up and the losers move down, and that's how you can kind of move up and move down into the big dogs and stuff like that. I mean, it's a decent idea, because when I'm thinking like, my idea was, and again, this was very preliminary, was just starting basically a professional league for college.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 18 plus, but then it's like that's limited to, probably at max 32 teams. But if you do that times 4 and you have 4 divisions, and then you can kind of move up, that's encompassing 128 teams. So
mm-hmm.
that could be a thing, maybe. But here's my thing, because I was talking to Mike about this too. Like, I like that these student athletes have to go to school, because we need more educated people in this country. And being able to play a sport and get an education is super beneficial to our society. Not that degrees mean everything, because I know there's plenty of ways to make it without them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of the education, at least from my experience in college, like, has been very beneficial.
Yeah, of course. No, it puts you, it helps get players that maybe, grew up in a bad environment into a good environment where, it could set them up for success. Yeah, no, I'm all
I just learned a lot. So, like, I didn't like school at all until I got to my last college, and I actually enjoyed learning, which is really weird for me to say, especially publicly. But, like, that knowledge doesn't go away.
Yeah. No, of course. But then and also, of course, with the cost of college, like student loans, the way they are, like, yeah, them being able to go for free is so huge. But yeah, wait, what did he say? Don't you say that, John? What did I say, Ayo? I forgot what I said.
It was when you mentioned the other previous coach, I think.
Oh.
Ayo's having some trauma too.
Don't you put that evil on me. Yeah, it's in the past. But yeah, man. So yeah, and Jersey Kane says European soccer does that tier system. I was trying to think of where have I seen that? Yeah, soccer does that, and they've been doing that for years, and it works. So I kind of like that idea, man. And maybe you can incorporate the XFL into it somehow. Who the hell knows? Because now that's a thing again. The Rock brought it back. So military also would help me. Yeah, man. So yeah, I think we're half an hour. I think that's good. Just wanted to touch on this a little bit. We could keep going on this.
We could go on for like the next 8 hours, really, but
probably could. Yeah, bring more guests in, but maybe over the next few weeks I'll do that. We'll see. We'll see how we don't know how this is going to unravel over the next few weeks.
100%.
Yeah. But I appreciate it, Max. I know you just got off work like right now, so go chill. And thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Make some food before Flow show.
Yeah, man. Go do that, bro.
All right.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Of course.
All right. And thanks to Max for coming on again. And guys, please, on the way out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Trying to push it to that 2,000 mark. And I wanted to mention this. I know I was doing the video game recordings. I've had some technical difficulties because I got a new computer, and the OBS studio that I was using, the sound is completely off on it. I don't know. I mean, the computer's great. I got a new Lenovo, but the OBS thing, the audio is just completely off, and I couldn't figure it out. I am not techie, so I wasn't going to spend all that energy trying to figure it out. So eventually I'll bring it back. But as for now, it's just going to be videos, live streams. I'm going to try to be on here more often for you guys. Try to keep this off-season entertaining, make it go by a little quicker. And as always, guys, go Heat, go Panthers. Most importantly,